Midfield, right point time.
Sunny and 75 in Bradenton, Florida, live from IMG Academy. It's the 2017 Suncoast Pro Classic tonight, featuring Major League Soccer's Chicago Fire taking on the North American Soccer League's Miami FC. Thanks for spending your Sunday evening with us. Now, there's a nice crowd joining at the Globe Pub. The Chicago Fire fans will get somewhat of a home call tonight. My name is Ryan Sudol, my broadcast partner Kevin Egan, formerly of the Chicago Fire commentary team, now with BN Sports. Kevin, obviously a team coming in with a lot of youth and a team that has made a lot of moves, or not a lot of moves, but a big move in acquiring Dax McCarty from the New York Red Bulls. A lot to look forward to, especially with a team that has taken a lot of heat for, I guess, maybe a lack of desire to win. They have really made some waves with the signing of Dax McCarty.
Yeah, certainly, Ryan. What a pleasure it is to be back calling a Chicago Fire game just for today, but real joy to be next to you for the broadcast on an absolutely incredible evening here in Bradenton. Perfect conditions, the sun just going down, and the team's ready to kick off. Alessandro Nesta's Miami and Veljko Paunovic, two coaches in their second year, and you're right to point out Chicago Fire with some key players have been brought in. Delu coming into his first full season. I see him as really instrumental as a leader throughout this team. You mentioned McCarty as well. Further forward, Nikolic. We'll see a bit of a mixed bag in this first half of the game today, with Dax McCarty alongside Bronico, a trialist in midfield. Delu will lead the line with Solignac in behind him as well. So for Veljko Paunovic, just testing out first half, different team in the second half altogether.
And those of you tuning in from Southern Florida, Miami FC not wearing numbers on their jersey tonight, so we will do our best. I know obviously some of the key players and also some newcomers as well, but we'll see Mason Trafford, Vincenzo Ranella, Kwadwo Poku, acquired from NYC FC, also a North American Soccer League player as well. Rhett Bernstein, Richie Ryan, Calvin Resende, Blake Smith, and Stefano Pino starting up top as well. But again, they do not have numbers on tonight. This is preseason for all clubs involved. So as we mentioned, it will be Jorge Bava in goal for the Chicago Fire. Then from left to right, Brandon Vincent, Mate Dekovic, Johan Kappelhoff, and also Taylor Pay as the right back. And then Dax McCarty and Brent Bronico in that midfield, also with Daniel Johnson, who is Solignac, as you had mentioned, as well as John Goosens. And then up top, trying something different with Michael DeLeu.
Yeah, I think we'd like to say a big thank you to Miami for not wearing those numbers on the back of their jerseys. What a joy for a commentator. As we see a chance for Solignac there on the right-hand side.
And crossed into the box, headed out safely away. Brought back this one up for Bronico. As we saw in the first match today, early on, some possession traded across midfield, just trying to feel out what the opposition was going to be looking to do. But right now the pressure being put on by the Fire early on.
We've been told that Solignac will be that withdrawn striker off DeLeo. I can see those interchanging throughout. Certainly Michael DeLeo has the ability to drop deeper into midfield. His name translates as the Lion, and that's the way he plays as well.
Now up through to Solignac, and that one touched up and out for a goal kick.
And for Miami FC, it was a tough first season for them. They flirted with the playoffs midway through the fall season, and then they fell away towards the end. Some poor losses at home in Miami, but they have a very experienced team. When you look at the back two, the pairing of Rhett Bernstein and Mason Trafford, then Richie Ryan playing slightly in front of them, it's a good, solid team.
And now Solignac into the box with an opportunity, and the Fire take a 1-0 lead in the 3rd minute. Unbelievable strike by Louis Solignac to give the Fire the 1-0 advantage.
And just as I praise Miami FC at the back, that's a horror show. Really poor defending from Nesta's men. The defensive legend former Italian international, will be really disgusted with that one. A turnover at the back, and Luis Solignac was clinical. Ruthless finish, bottom corner, no chance for Vega in goal. 1-0 Chicago Fire, nice and early.
A lot more to talk about than just the team of the Miami FC in the North American Soccer League. A very tumultuous offseason, as there was some doubt whether they would even take the field this year. Obviously, with the media magnates that own Miami FC, as well as some of the other teams in the North American Soccer League, everything as far as their divisional status by U.S. Soccer seemed to hinge on the New York Cosmos, which there was a little bit of a chess match between the league and the federation as far as, well, the Cosmos are going to be back if the North American Soccer League is classified as D2. And now quickly again you see Daniel Johnson.
Lovely feet from Johnson.
Tries to line one up, aiming far post, kept in by Goosens.
For such a slight guy, he just slaloms on the ball. Brilliant technique. Got a shot off as well, the perfect angle from here in the commentary booth. It was certainly on target. Good bright start for Johnson.
And for those of you that did not tune in for the 3:30 game, we will have VAR instituted tonight. Again, only available for penalty kicks, straight red cards, mistaken identities, and goals. We do not have goal line technology. However, if there is a clear goal that is either disallowed or not awarded, they will have an opportunity to review that, and we will see the center official signify one as Miami FC on the break. Tries to get up through the middle. That will be touched up and out for a corner kick.
Poor turnover at the back from the Fire, costly. Brandon Vincent taking it inside. And now look at the communication already from the experienced Uruguayan goalkeeper.
Chicago Fire coming off a 4-1 win over the Montreal Impact up in St. Petersburg just a few days ago. Goals scored by Akam, as well as Dax McCarty, getting one of his first for his new club. The former New York Red Bull captain, one of the biggest off-season stories in Major League Soccer. But happy to be with Chicago now, and Kevin, you had said he's starting to fit in very well with this team.
Yeah, certainly really looking forward to seeing him this afternoon. I'm just watching Bava. He's got Bronico on the back post, no one on the near post. Solignac can step in there if need be. Richie Ryan whips in a great ball on that left foot of his.
Sent in just past the far post, headed up and over the bar and out for a goal kick. No danger for Bava. Those of you wondering where Matthew Lampson might be, he is currently out with an MCL sprain, so we will not see him tonight or maybe for an extended period in this preseason. Now, those of you watching in Chicago experiencing some unseasonably warm temperatures up in the Windy City. Heard up in the 60s and 70s this past week, so a lot of people excited for that and not having to have their winter coats out. Just about 75 degrees at kickoff. Sun going down directly behind us here at IMG Academy Field, one of the elite training facilities in all the world. Up through the middle, little bit of contact there with Dejkovic and back into the hands of Bava.
Really good from Dax McCarty though. Poku, we know how strong he can be when he turns. If he gets a chance to run on goal, he's powerful. Dax McCarty there every step of the way with him.
Miami FC had made many headlines this offseason. They had cut a lot of money, but they have also spent a lot of money in bolstering their midfield. Also the addition of another North American Soccer League leading goal scorer, one of them Michel, formerly of Rayo OKC, the team affiliated with Rayo Vallecano of La Liga. Network that your network is pretty well familiar with.
Indeed, it was a weird decision though, because Raul Presa, the main man at Rayo Vallecano, got involved with this club and they were struggling over in La Liga. Here's a corner for the Fire.
Looking far post, and that one just sails through, tracks out. The wind is blowing at about a 10 to 15 mile an hour clip directly from the north, which is the left side of your screen, to the south, your right side. Did have some effect on some shots from distance in our first contest between FC Cincinnati of the United Soccer League as well as Oklahoma City Energy. Game ended 3-2 in favor of OKC. And those of you tuning in late, Miami FC not wearing numbers on their jerseys or even their shorts, so every broadcaster's favorite kind of game.
But Chicago Fire fans may see a familiar face. Addy Hilton may feature for Miami at some point in this game, the centre-back formerly of the Fire, of course. And it's a weird sensation for Fire fans this season because the team is pretty much picked for the most part. You have an idea of who's going to start, and the team is taking shape really nicely under Veljko Paunovic. I just hope that materialises onto the pitch, because certainly the talent is there. You look for maybe a couple of reinforcements at the back, certainly in those wide areas. Ryan Taylor, former Newcastle player, is coming in on trial with the Chicago Fire soon. He should come in in the next few days and maybe even feature before the season starts. So that might be something to keep an eye on in that right back position.
And if you guys want to interact on Twitter, you can use the hashtag CF97. We'll be checking that periodically on certain stoppages as we are getting the preseason underway. Major League Soccer's kickoff just a few weeks away. First weekend in March. And for Miami FC, they will begin one of the last weeks of March, the same as the United Soccer League, that weekend of the 25th. Miami FC, I believe, will open with the legendary New York Cosmos.
To me, one of the biggest facets missing from a Chicago Fire team over the past few years has been raw leadership. And already I can see Bava, who has not stopped talking at the back. In front of him, Kappelhoff, Dax McCarty, and then DeLeo further forward. Those four instantly recognizable as real leaders in this team.
Vincent, nice cross into the box and safely headed away by Miami.
And the nice part about that is they can make it their own. They know that. The team has been completely transformed. When I was part of the broadcast team alongside Dan Kelly a couple of years ago, the only players left from that side are David Akam, who'll feature in the second half, Patrick Doody, Matt Polster, and young Colin Fernandez. So complete turnover.
Fire will also be back in action on Wednesday night right here at IMG Academy Field, and then next Saturday, part of a triple header, they'll take on Toronto FC up in Al Lang Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, also making a push to join MLS. Also, those Fire fans wondering if we're going to see the same 11 for all 90 minutes. We already have the second half 11, and it is a complete 11-man substitution that we expect at 45 minutes.
And what's interesting is in the second half, I think we'll see Arshakian up front leading the line with Nikolic playing off him. Maybe something different to what we'll see when the Fire take on, is it that yellow team on opening day? Away from home?
So I've heard.
Good, bring on the season. It's a long off season.
The Fire didn't just add Eric Gehrig, I believe, as a member of the coaching staff, if I'm not mistaken. Also familiar with that banana-colored team. Shove, foul awarded. That will be Daniel Johnson going down, and quick restart for the Fire. Johnson again, great dribbling, gets through the middle. Johnson again loses it.
What I'm looking to see is Johnson gets the ball instantly, looks to come inside, as does Goosens, as does Alvarez, as does David Akam as well. Chicago's wingers are quite interior-minded, which means that it's so important that Brandon Vincent can get forward and be that supporting fullback out on the flank and offer his services out wide.
And now we see, I believe that's Poku on the break, and he gets taken down. Free kick awarded. Again, very dangerous. Poku's had a couple goals in lower division soccer fans' favorite competition, the U.S. Open Cup. Also had a brief stint with New York City FC. Again, a very exciting player and excellent with the ball in space. Now the interception by the Fire again, who have been dominating for most of this first half. Haven't seen many chances taken by Miami FC. Fire already scoring early on back in the 3rd minute off the foot of Luis Solignac. Dangerous pass back. Fire able to find some space down that far touch line. Sent forward looking for Solignac again. A little too heavy on the pass, and it will go back to the keeper, Vega, for Miami FC. They play their regular season games down in Miami on the campus of FIU. And Fire fighting for it, DeLeu. Solignac out wide. That is Goossens. Opportunity to cross. Heads toward the 18, trying to find the head again of DeLeu, and back out. Another foul.
And if you're Blake Smith playing left back for Miami, you have to know every time Goossens gets in that scenario, he's cutting back onto that left foot. A wicked strike from the Dutchman. Great delivery of the ball as well. Similar to Arturo Alvarez, you know both those guys are going at it for that spot on the right-hand side of midfield for Chicago. David Akam, you would think, is an absolute must on the left-hand side.
Nice passing just toward the center circle for Miami FC, trying to create from the right side, and early cross from about 50 or so yards out, trying to get it through the 18-yard box, taken back safely by Chicago.
Yeah, it was a great ball by Johnny Barajo. The right idea as well. Put it in behind Dekovic. Make him think the youngster playing alongside Kappelhoff. And Miami have so many central midfield players in their roster. It's hard to believe, really, when you look at the likes of Lahoud. Certainly Michel, that's just come in as well, who the Fire know very well indeed from his time with Dallas in Major League Soccer. A lot of players in that central area, so they're relying on Blake Smith and Johnny Barajo on that left and right hand side to tear forward at every opportunity.
And you mentioned Mike Lahoud, who I anticipate we will probably see in the second half. Had a nice career with the Philadelphia Union before finally settling down in Miami.
Big discussion in Chicago Fire circles as to how exactly Juninho and Dax McCarty can play together. I don't think it's an issue at all, actually. I'll get back to that in just a moment.
Poku on the break. Tripped up. And the center referee is going to whistle a free kick from about 30 yards out.
Good decision. Poku, former NYCFC man, just tripped, tried to stay on his feet, did everything in his power to stay up, and then a no-nonsense challenge from Kappelhoff.
This will be the first test for Bava if this can be bent over the wall.
And this is going to be Ranella, former La Liga man. He's got a good left foot, as does Richie Ryan, who looks like he's stepping away. Ryan would absolutely hit it with his left as well.
And set up, he tries to go under the wall. Instead, it's the Fire looking for a quick counter. Tug on the shoulders of Solignac, and pace shut down by Miami, so the Fire will reset, take a breather. Nice attempt by Ranella. The Fire wall, though, did not jump high enough to let that ball skip under them and try and shield Bava from that free kick, so wasted opportunity.
Love this from Dax McCarty. Dax McCarty's under pressure, yet he wants responsibility. He wants to take the ball on. You can see it in his body. He's motioning towards the players, saying, give it to me. It doesn't matter if he's under pressure or not. It's something you see from players in that role, whether it be someone like Sergi Busquets at Barcelona. It doesn't matter. They're comfortable under pressure, and they're willing to take on that responsibility. And it's a joy to see early here from McCarty.
50-50 ball, and Solignac whistled offside. Play restarted, no need for the VAR yet. And something that has been tested slightly in the USL last year and will bleed over in this year, and then FIFA will reevaluate its value in 2018 before they decide if they need to kind of redo the structure or how it's implemented. But so far, everybody that's been talked to about VAR has been in favor of it. The Dutch have used it very successfully in their leagues. They also used it in the Club World Cup fairly recently. And a lot of the soccer purists and traditionalists have express their disgust for it just because they believe it takes away from the heart of the game. But I'm sure there's a lot of fans that would like to go back to some of those historical games, and if they could have gotten certain calls corrected, similar to the Copa America and goals scored off of the forearm, I'm sure they would have liked to do that.
Not a great time to mention Thierry Henry's handball then, no?
Headed out safely by the Fire, kept in the 18-yard box, and dribbling down, set back out. Under it, tracking towards Bava, and that will head out for a Miami FC throw.
Bava again communicating. Yes, he's 35, a goalkeeper, very fit though. Constant communication, which is great to see, just from someone who's so new to this setup, coming from South America.
Now the deep throw in towards the near post, headed through, an opportunity at the volley, and that is deflected out. And they will say it did not go off a Fire player. Out for a goal kick.
Just a little bit of a mismatch there. Dax McCarty overpowered in the air, and the ball falls for Ranella, who always favors his left foot. This Miami team, you can say what you want, they've got so many talented players within the squad, and they'll introduce many more in the second half as well.
And they've put up a good fight, and again, shy of that poor pass back in the 3rd minute that Solignac was able to intercept and put in the back of the net. They have played with the Fire. Again, that's without guys like Mike Lahoud and Michel on that back line as well. Michel scoring 14 goals in the North American Soccer League last season. One of the league leaders. Even though a few of those came off of penalties.
I was just going to say, or free kick.
But definitely a dangerous weapon that Miami FC decided to add this year. And some other teams that you'll get an opportunity to see here at the IMG Suncoast Pro Friendlies. Some other USL teams, the closest one to Chicago, probably your St. Louis FC. Also mentioned FC Cincinnati as well as Oklahoma City Energy. And that one will go out for a corner. And it will be Goossens that takes it. '20th minute of play. Chicago Fire been on the front foot for most of the first half. Center referee having some words. Second ball left on the field. We did not have the benefit of additional balls on the sideline. So again, with this track and field track, sometimes you can get a little bit delayed and cut down on some of the pace and momentum of the game. Bronico.
Really well worked.
Into the box and punched away and cleared off the line by Miami.
Yeah, Bernstein does well, gets it away, but really well worked. It was simple. The Fire did it so well.
Ball will stay with Chicago. Brandon Vincent with the throw.
As Johan Cruyff once said, it's a simple game, but the hardest thing to do is play simple.
And the late, great Johan Cruyff.
Bit of a flashback for Fire fans, by the way. In the game before this, Cincinnati were beaten 3-2. Austin Berry, 2012 Rookie of the Year, with a goal from a set play, something Chicago Fire fans will remember from back in that season alongside Arne Friedrich. The young player from Ohio really was sensational that season.
And great tradition in Chicago going back to their inaugural season. I remember many of their games in my hometown of Naperville.
That's right.
When they played at North Central College. Again, drew some great crowds. And
so this really is a home broadcast.
It absolutely is. 20 years in Chicago will do that to you.
Even though I live in Miami.
Exactly. Your years at the Big Ten Network as well as with the Chicago Fire. Mine with 670 The Score. So Miami doing themselves no favors by keeping their numbers off the jerseys. And I will apologize. Well, no, I'm not going to apologize for the bias in advance. Always have fun. And one of the other homegrown players that are on the roster, we might not necessarily see him, though, Georgi Mihailovic. The last time I saw him was as a 15-year-old for the USL Super Youth 20. He played with the Fire Academy team and very adept with the ball at his feet through the midfield. Again, one of the shortest kids on the pitch back
Smart.
almost 4 years ago, but very smart. His dad, Alex, played in the first inception of the North American Soccer League, back with the Washington Diplomats as well as the Jacksonville T-Men. So, and he's also made his way into the Illinois Soccer Hall of Fame, running some great clubs out in the Oak Brook area and the western suburbs of Chicago.
You talk about soccer IQ, and young Jordy has that. Love to see him break in. Maybe this season if he can, if not next. Still only 18 years of age, and at 16 he was such a big part of the Fire's 2015. That was the under-18 US Soccer Development Academy. That was the national championship that they won.
Also, those of you unfamiliar with IMG Academy, this is the host of the U.S. Men's National Team Residency Program. The under-17s and the under-15s often play here, and a break for Miami FC. Poor first touch and an opportunity to equalize, but into the box and dropped back. Taken back away by the Fire. I believe that was Stefano Pino. Also had some other North American Soccer League roots. Pino was the NASL's Golden Boot winner back in 2015 with the now extinct Fort Lauderdale Strikers, or at least in a as much of a holding pattern as you can be. I know there's a lot of conflict with what's going on in Fort Lauderdale and players not getting paid. One of the sadder stories of lower division soccer in America in the 2016 season, and I know the new regime of NASL, now that Commissioner Bill Peterson has stepped down, is definitely trying to resolve some of those 2016 issues, especially with pay. That was one of the issues with the New York Cosmos as well. Miami, though, one of the more successful teams in actually reaching out to the community. That was something that Fort Lauderdale was lacking, was an ability to integrate in the community. Miami had some very good attendance in the later on in the 2016 season, and I know the Striker fans and their supporter group in Flight 19 were none too happy with the dissolution of the club, but thus is lower division soccer in America.
I hate to see clubs go away. Honestly, it was wonderful to see NASL continue. There were doubts about it at one point, but some great leadership involved in NASL. Certainly Miami's leadership, Ricardo Silva, absolutely there, and you know, you've got other good clubs like Indy 11, another brilliant club involved, and that's what you want to see. Is you don't want to see clubs in North American soccer go away. That's the last thing you want to see. Especially
with as rapidly as the sport is growing domestically, not just fans of the Premier League and La Liga and starting to grow on Bundesliga and Ligue 1, but the domestic product itself, and
absolutely
integrating, especially Indy 11, has been so good with tying into that Indianapolis area. Again, they would have some, there was some talk about them possibly joining the USL with some natural rivalries. That's one of the big stories that's going to be happening in the 2017 season, is the travel of the 8 North American Soccer League teams. I mentioned this in the first broadcast. The San Francisco Deltas will be their first year in the North American Soccer League. We're going to travel over 85,000 miles in this season. I believe Swansea in the 2014-15 season only traveled 4,000 miles for their whole season. So, and FC Edmonton is going to travel more in 1 week with their trip to Puerto Rico as well as to San Francisco. They're going to travel more in 1 week than 90%, double of what most of the Premier League does. So, one of the things that a lot of American soccer fans that also follow the European game don't understand, that travel takes a tremendous toll.
Follow all the leagues you want. Get involved. Follow La Liga, Serie A, whatever it is. But support your local team. It's so important. The growth of the game here in North America, it's imperative, I think, that people get out and show that support. You don't have to, but I don't see why you wouldn't.
Throw in for Miami.
One thing to keep an eye on here for me is we saw Dax McCarty venture forward a little bit, and I don't think the communication was there with young Bronico. And then they nearly got caught out the fire, and that is something that I touched on a little bit earlier on with the relationship. Great tackle by McCarty. The relationship between Juninho and Dax McCarty has to be one full of communication. Shot from Blake Smith from distance. If one is going to go, one has to stay, and there's all sorts of talk. Will McCarty be the sitter? Will Juninho go? Both have the ability to play further forward as your quote-unquote 8, if you like. but they have to communicate, and they're certainly capable of doing that. You see that with lots of teams around the world, that more than capable. If they're good enough footballers, absolutely capable.
And we will see Janino in the second half, and getting a chance to talk with some of the Fire staff about, again, this being the second preseason game. Poor giveaway there by the Fire. Opportunity, tries to sneak it by Bava. Believe that's Pino, and he is shoved down, and he is going to say no foul. Looked like a little bit of a miscue by Dejkovic. Had a poor first touch on the ball, and I believe that was Pino that was able to sneak forward, and great save by Bava, and nice recovery by Dejkovic to prevent that ball from going into the back of the net.
Yeah, Bava made himself huge, didn't he? And here we see up the other end, Mason Trafford gets across. It's fouled by Louis Solignac. End to end, instantly. Good recovery, by the way, from Brandon Vincent. Very physical in the challenge on Pino. And great initial pick up of the head from Daniel Johnson, and ball down the line to Solignac.
Now this may be one of those instances where VAR on that last foul that potential foul that occurred in the box, that is something that the VAR can go back and look at and decide that if that was indeed a foul, the center official can come back and look at a shoulder shove in the box and in fact award a penalty after this much time. And that's a dangerous one, could be an own goal. What a save there by Vega. A little bit of a miscue by Miami almost cost them to go 2 goals down.
Well, I don't think Rep Bernstein would have thanked. Certainly would have been furious at his goalkeeper if that trickled into the net.
NASL notorious for some of the worst own goals. That would have definitely been up there, along with last year's Sammy Enjock's Minnesota United trying to throw the ball downfield and just ended back in his own net. Now the Fire.
There's Brandon Vincent now. This is the instances where Johnson tucks inside. He's got to offer that width, which he does.
Now looking for Johnson. Great slide challenge by Miami. It'll be a throw-in for the Fire deep in their attacking third.
And it is a mixed bunch, by the way, in terms of the lineup. So it's interesting to see how they press further forward with Solignac, Deleu, McCarty as well through the middle, Bronico as well. But so far, allowing Miami FC come out with the ball, pick their passes, instead of pressing higher up the field trying to win it back.
That just sent out of Miami's end. Fire look to switch the play up towards the near side. Sun just about completely down here in Bradenton. That will also save these players about 10 degrees of temperature. Probably dropping into the high 60s. And we're just about an hour south of the Tampa Bay area. Bradenton, Sarasota area. Plenty of club history here. U.S. men's national team, Tim Howard's old goalkeeper coach, Tim Mulqueen. Actually the athletic director at one of the local area private schools, as well as Mrs. Howard, Tim's mom, having a house right down the road as well. Miami again trying to create. Only had one great chance after the Dejkovic misstep.
And what the Fire have done really well here is knowing that Miami really doesn't have any out-and-out wingers, condensing the field, getting nice and narrow centrally, forcing Miami to play it to Blake Smith on the left, Johnny Barajo on the right, and forcing their fullbacks to be playmakers.
That one hangs up in the wind. Brought back to that Fire back line, and they will again trade possession via headers before Miami finally wins it back and then taken away by Bronico. Now back out, that's Solignac. Right now his goal is the difference in the game coming back from the 3rd minute. He's taken down. It'll be a free kick for Chicago.
Yeah, the type of player, I think it's a wonderful pickup, really astute pickup from the Colorado Rapids, Lucho Solignac. The type of guy I think will get better. He's still so young, in his mid-20s. Type of guy that will get better alongside a DeLeo, and certainly a Nikolic as well, who I'm really looking forward to seeing in the second half.
Great pass near side. Goosens looking for a ball. That one gets caught up in the wind and almost drops to the feet of DeLeu. Would have been an excellent opportunity. Handball whistled against Goosens. Just going up off his bicep. Now pleading the case with the center referee.
The hair suits him, Goosens. Was going full shaved last year. I noticed as well, Sean Johnson, former Chicago Fire goalkeeper, and real favourite in Chicago when he was there playing with New York City FC last night. He's grown his hair out as well.
Now Miami approaching the top of the 18, but the Fire midfield and defenders able to shut it down quickly. Now out wide, tries to get across through. That will bounce up off of Vincent and out for a corner kick.
Well done, Vincent. One thing I really want to see in this game is those instances. How good is Brandon Vincent when he's isolated 1v1? He stood up, he actually dived in a little bit. I thought if Johnny Barajo takes a touch and tries to take him on, he may have had that momentum. But Vincent did well, got his block. Now once more, communication key at the back in defending this corner.
Approaching the 34th minute of play, again with an in-swinger. Anytime it's at this side of the field, it is blowing directly into the goal. Gets under it, sends it way past the far post, headed in front. Bava is full and headed off the goal line and back out, and Bava is looking like he wanted a foul called, but an excellent defensive save by that Fire defenders.
This is where he's got to be much stronger. You're a big goalkeeper. You have to push everyone out of your way. How many times have you seen a penalty given against a goalkeeper who's trying to get a ball like that? It's not given. He's got to dominate that area of the field. And every time Richie Ryan lifts that one arm up, you know he's going towards the back post, towards Rhett Bernstein, who's an absolute monster in the air. This time it's the right arm.
Again, similar position, a little further. Missing the head of DeLeu, and the center official signaling a goal kick.
From our position, to me, that was play on. Now, he was claiming, Bava, that his jersey was being pulled back. Maybe that was the case. It was difficult to see from here. But how many times have we seen goalkeepers being bailed out in instances like that when they're not strong enough and a referee chooses the easy option to give a free? That's good for him to be tested like this. It's a physical league, Major League Soccer. He needs to get used to that now.
Now McCarty. Now wide Vincent. Now just passing in a triangle, looking up forward for Goosens. And just misplays that ball off his left foot out. Pass touch for a throw. Trying to take it, and now a dangerous run for Miami, but again the Fire able to recover. Out wide the cross, kept out of the 18 by Chicago. Brandon Vincent has been an anchor at that left back position. Now back through the middle, and then miscommunication between Poku, and that will go out for a throw. Throw in by Vincent. That will go off the chest of Miami.
Tweet us your thoughts. Let us know what you think of the first half so far in the 36th minute. Hashtag CF97. Or directly, where can Chicago and Miami fans find you?
At Sudsanity, SUDSANITY.
And at Kev_Egan.
I know the Fire have tweeted out both of our Twitter handles from the official team Twitter, so feel free to reply there. A lot of fun seeing the hometown team come down to the new hometown. I know, Kevin, you called Chicago home for some years, and a lot of your family does as well.
Absolutely. Still smiling over that Cubs victory.
Now there's a nice little crowd at the Globe Pub watching tonight, and a few other soccer bars in the city of Chicago. More than a couple. I used to spend my nights watching World Cup at Timothy O'Toole's down at Columbus in Ontario. Just a block down from my old office at the NBC Tower. As Miami now approaching, that one will skip through and taken back by the Fire, and that is Taylor Pay. Also know there's a lot of Chelsea fans that like to rove around the city of Chicago as well.
That's poor from Johnson. Poku's strong in these areas.
Now Miami again, advantage being played. Opportunity, maybe looking for the shot on distance. Back up top. looking for that equalizer. 38th minute into the box and tries to sneak it by Bava, and he does. Miami with the equalizer in the 38th minute. Again, have to apologize. Miami FC not wearing numbers on their jerseys or their shorts. Happened to me 3 years ago when Philadelphia Union came down and played the New York Red Bulls.
Well, it's brilliant from Ranella. It really is, and it's just unfortunate that it's Taylor Pay who's really trialing. This is a huge game for Taylor Pay, the right back who gets caught in no man's land. And it's wonderful vision from Ranella. I mentioned he played in La Liga, and he's got great quality, Ranella. And that's a poor goal to concede, because if truth be told, Chicago Fire has looked comfortable in this game. Aside from that one corner where Bava was caught a bit stranded, the team has looked comfortable, condensing the field, forcing Miami wide, which I'm not sure they're as comfortable. But that's a poor goal to concede. Really well finished by Miami.
Fire will look to get that go-ahead goal, running out of time in the first half. As we mentioned earlier, we will see a brand new 11 for the final 45 minutes. Again, we're not the only ones. Couldn't tell who got the goal. Miami FC Twitter also trailing behind a little bit. So on some of the yellow cards and whatnot, we're going to have to depend on them. Shoved off the ball is Kappelhoff. Again, just some miscalculated passes by the Fire leading to chances for Miami FC. When the Fire have controlled the ball, Kevin, they really haven't had any problems with it, but when they try and make some of those passes that they just miss hit, and now into the box.
But I don't think they've controlled the ball well enough. And yes, it's a mixed match, like I said, with the team, but there haven't been that many sequences in the game where Chicago's look comfortable on the ball and can put, passing sequences of 6, 7 passes together. And Miami have pressed quite well too, forcing Chicago into dangerous areas. And that's when you need to switch it. Switch the play. There you go. Great ball from Bronico.
And now Vincent with space to run down the near side. Into the middle, and Dax will drop that back for Dejkovic. Now up Vincent. Now Dax looking for Vincent down the left side. Great passing. Through the middle is Johnson, and taken away back again by Miami.
Real chance to break if Miami do it quicker. That's a great block from the referee. Has he got a Fire jersey on underneath that yellow? Lucky for Chicago.
And it looks like Ranella is in fact going to get credit for that 38th minute assist. Dylan Mayers with the goal.
Yeah, Dylan Mayers, former Indiana Hoosier, came across from Indy 11. A really good finish. He's trying to impress Alessandro Nesta.
Now cross into the box and trying to get the header through, and a penalty is awarded. I believe that's going to be on a handball.
And I'm looking forward to seeing this again. Instantly, every Chicago Fire player called for it. The referee didn't hesitate at all. It seemed quite harsh, but it's given. Vega goes back in net and up steps. It looks like it'll be John Goosens to take it.
Goosens looking to put the Fire back up 1 goal. We're in the 42nd minute. Now the guessing game for Mario Daniel Vega. Goosens on the approach, left foot, and buries it right under the bar. What a strike by John Goosens to put the Fire up 2-1 in the 42nd minute.
Pick it out. What a penalty. Unbelievable hit from John Goosens. If that net's not there, it's breaking the window in the building behind us. That was some strike from the Dutch winger. Clinical, no doubt about it whatsoever.
And that's one of those penalty kicks that you might not take in a regular season game, but in a preseason, why not give it everything you've got?
Oh, take it in the regular season. If you're confident in doing it, go and do it. This is a bullet.
I don't think there's a goalkeeper in the world that could have stopped that. And the Fire go back up 2-1. Miami going to look to get it right back.
Maybe, if we can, we might get a replay of the handball that led to the penalty.
So that will give the Fire a much needed momentum boost after giving up that equalizer.
And it kind of came against the run of play in many ways. Dodgy at the back. Once more, iffy defending from Mason Trafford.
DeLayu putting on the pressure. Dax gets a great head to it, but out past touch for a Miami throw.
And with the way DeLayu can press and Solignac can press, if I'm Veljko Paunovic, I want my team to do a bit more of that, because you win the ball back higher up the field, like we saw in 2.5 minutes into the game. The Fire took the lead. When the Fire sit back and invite pressure, I know I can say over the past 3-4 years, it hasn't worked out well. The team isn't comfortable enough sitting back defending and then trying to hit on the counter-attack. Much better off pushing that line a little bit further up the field if possible, obviously depending on who you're playing.
Daniel Johnson sends one deep into the corner looking for John Goosens, who is completely unmarked, and instead goes out for a Miami throw. But the Fire with a chance, and now Johnson just tries to flick it forward and find the foot there of Solignac again, looking for his second goal of the game, and too heavy on the touch and unable to settle it down. Goes back into the arms of Vega. Throw in for Chicago. Approaching the end of the first half, anticipating probably, let's say, about 3 minutes of added time. Just based on the fact 3 goals and a couple stoppages, especially with that awarded penalty kick. And do not, unfortunately, have a digital board that can signify us as to the substitutions as well as added time, but we make do with what we can. It's Miami FC looking for some open space, but now the Chicago Fire midfield beginning to suffocate the Miami attack, and that one a little heavy on the pass, but settled back down. Pressure coming. This time again from DeLayu, putting pressure on Vega, trying to fight for it. Another opportunity for the Fire, and able to be cleared away by Miami.
Much better. Much better intensity. Now you have to be careful. Brilliant interception from Richie Ryan. And this is where Poku is strong.
On the break.
That's where the New York City FC fans fell in love with Kwadwo Poku. His ability to turn on that tight space at Yankee Stadium and be so impressive straight down the middle. But halftime whistle comes. Lots to improve on from a Chicago Fire standpoint, but still showing signs further forward that they can be a little bit clinical. The pressing side works with Mason Trafford, Rhett Bernstein, Vega in goal as well. They've won the ball back in dangerous areas. And I think you've seen impressive spurts from the likes of a Daniel Johnson coming through as well, a draft pick that I think is impressed in the first half. But big changes coming from the Serbian Veljko Paunovic at halftime, and expect to see players like Juninho, Nikolic as well, David Akam in the second half.
A very exciting first half here from IMG Academy Field. Chicago Fire 2, Miami FC 1. We'll have second half action. That's Kevin Egan. I'm Ryan Sudol. We'll be back in 15 minutes with the second half right here for the 2017 Suncoast Pro Classic presented by Stream Sports.
Time for a cup of tea.
Here at IMG Academy, we rise each day with one rival, ourselves, perfecting our practice to outdo what's been done, because we know the spotlight is stolen after the light runs out. Here, we study more than scouting reports. Here, no stat can ever measure our potential. And the way we see it, podiums are mere stepping stones. Our repetition creates separation. and those in search of shortcuts need not apply. Because in our school of thought, luck comes to those who earn it. This is IMG Academy. We are the Ascenders, and we are on the rise.
Want you to see all of the lights.
Gatorade bars. Never let hunger get in the way of your game.
So, you want to be the best? So does everybody else. See, it takes more than wanting it. You gotta show up. And when you show up and camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere. Everyone wants to be the first one in and the last one out. Me, I'm no different. It's no badge of honor. It's just because when I'm here, you're not. When I'm here, you're not. And when I'm here, you're not.
You may think you've done it all in Florida, but until you've done Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, and Longboat Key, you just haven't experienced Florida at its most relaxed, exciting, laid back, and memorable. Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, Longboat Key. It's the real, authentic Florida. Plan online at BradentonGolfIslands.com. Sometimes great vacations aren't about what you get, but more about what you get to leave behind. This is your invitation to pull the plug. Let it all go and get in touch with what really matters. In a place where life is simpler and the memories last forever. Real, authentic Florida. Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, Longboat Key. Plan to visit online at BradentonGolfIslands.com.
And welcome back to IMG Academy Field. Second half of this second match of the day for the 2017 Suncoast Pro Classic between Chicago Fire and Miami FC. Ryan Sudol and Kevin Egan getting ready to bring you the final 45, which will see massive substitutions for both sides. In goal for Chicago now will be Stephen Cleveland. Back line of number 22, Patrick Duty. Number 3, Joe Almera. Number 16, Jonathan Campbell. Number 5, Michael Harrington. Then your midfield, Janino comes in. Number 18, Drew Connor. And then you also have number 11, David Acombe playing out left. Number 9, Nemanja Nikolic. Number 7, Arturo Alvarez out right. And the lone man on top, David Arshakian. I know we had asked for some feedback via Twitter, and I know a lot of people were expressing some concern about the midfield. I think it's important to note that when the regular season starts in a couple weeks, you'll probably see Dax McCarty and Janino on the pitch at the same time. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh, 100%. Big changes for both sides. Welcome back to the second half, folks. Good 45 minutes in store, hopefully. There's lots more players looking to impress their coaches. Interestingly, actually, something I didn't mention in the first half, Veljko Paunovic and Alessandro Nesta, two guys that had incredible careers, played against each other several times, one of which was a European Cup semi-final back in 1998. It was Veljko Paunovic's Atletico Madrid playing against Lazio, where Nesta was a star, a legend at that club.
Again, a lot of Italian influence on that Miami FC side. Obviously with Nesta, also initially some investment, I believe, from Paolo Maldini. And now the whistle. Again, we'll see Chicago Fire going from left to right on your screen for the second half. For those of you not aware, that is north to south here at IMG Academy Field in Bradenton on the campus of IMG Academy. Again, host to many international sports stars. National Football League's Cam Newton runs a 7-on-7 tournament here. We also have major tennis stars that come and train here, as well as many international football clubs. Fluminense from Brazil has been known to come here. Wolfsburg from Bundesliga had been here as well within the past few months. So just always, you never know who you're going to run into in Bradenton while coming here to IMG.
Why wouldn't they want to? Can I stay? Get a ball and go for a kick around after the game?
Well, the weather in Miami's not that bad this time of year either.
Not bad in Chicago either. Some beautiful weather being reported from the Windy City. Some feedback coming through. Lots of people, Chicago Fire fans, seem to be impressed with Daniel Johnson in that first half. Looking at it as well, we have James Black from overseas, I believe, over in Scotland. Says both sides a little bit too slack on the ball. Fire need to get it down and pull Miami's shape apart. So astute analysis. Andrew M. Daniel Johnson impressive as well. Sean Spence says, Lucho, that's Solignac and Deleu. The pairing was very sharp and active. Kappelhoff, always good to watch. Dax just as advertised, which is very smart indeed.
As we now see Alvarez down the right wing. Lining up a shot from distance and sneaks it in. What a rocket! From about 20 yards out, Arturo Alvarez, left-footed, sneaks it into the far post. Wow, what a strike, 3-1 Chicago.
How about that for an impact? What a hit. All day long, Arturo Alvarez knows exactly what he's going to do. Little shimmy and a shake, takes it onto that left boot of his, and lets rip. No chance for Vega in goal. He got a touch, but that's powerful. Similar to Goossens as well. Watch this one more time. Alvarez, who had a career year in Major League Soccer last year. There's that little shimmy and a shake, and boom. Bottom corner, really difficult one. It swerves in the air. Tough one for Vega to keep out. And Alvarez, someone who, like I mentioned, had a wonderful season last year. Very impressive. He had 9 assists, which was a career high. 5 goals as well.
What an impressive shot by number 7. Again, that was the third minute of the second half, mirroring Solignac's third-minute goal from the first half. So,
and the Fire scored after, what, 25 seconds or so? Against Montreal just a few days ago in a 4-1 victory. Starting early, which is very good indeed.
Just an absolute incredible strike to start this second half, and I think Arturo Alvarez is a name you might see on that starting 11.
Well, can I be uber critical of Arturo Alvarez? And this is going to sound crazy to say. one of the stats, if we want to focus on stats, which I sometimes don't like to do, but his stats were very good last year. Something that I'd like to see a bit more from is I want to see more bite from Arturo Alvarez. He picked up 2 yellow cards. He picked up a yellow card per 1,000 minutes in Major League Soccer last year. And I just want to see more aggression from him, more fight, and to be a little bit more angry at times in games. And that's perfectly okay.
It's also one of the toughest things to gauge in preseason is just knowing that these guys aren't necessarily, yes, they're all trying to win, but their main goal is to be able to stay healthy and still not push themselves too much to where they're going to injure themselves for the regular season. I mean, one of the old stats is, you know, Peyton Manning never won more than one preseason game for the Indianapolis Colts, just to show you the value of preseason. Yes, right now, the goal for both of these teams is to find form and stay healthy. But if you can get a few goals in and get the fans excited about something, that never hurt anybody either.
Yeah, and the Fire enjoyed a wonderful preseason last year and couldn't take that form to Major League Soccer. So it's just important from a gelling standpoint, figure out what your identity is as a team. The Fire in the first half, to me, looked like a side that wanted to hit fast every chance they got again, and didn't look like they really wanted to control the tempo of the game.
A calm, beautiful turn, gets into the box. Nikolic tries to sneak it back, pings it off the post. What an effort by Chicago. Back in again for Nikolic.
That's incredible from Nikolic. Brilliant from David Akam, but that first touch from Nikolic, superb.
And what a shot and what a parry and onside. And the putback by Arshakian. Offside, not raised. So that is going to be a good goal in the 52nd minute after a beautiful deflection by the Miami keeper. A great save on the shot from distance, but Arshakian right there for the sitter and puts the Fire up 4-1.
4-1 Chicago Fire. You can't ask for more than that. Brilliant build-up. Nikolic with the early chance. Then it comes back across. The strike from distance as Harrington recycles the ball. It's Juninho with the hit. Good save from Bava. And there he is, the Armenian Ibra, Arshakian.
What a strike. And now the Fire starting to flex their muscle, and I think the Miami players are wondering how he was so wide open in front of the net. And again, VAR is possible to be used. Those of you unfamiliar with it, it is basically an assisted video referee that can review some of those calls, and if they feel that Arshakian may have been offside, then they will in fact tell the center referee to halt play. He will come over and look at the monitor, and if they decide that he was offside, they will in fact take that goal back. However, right now there seems to be no communication between the center referee and what's known as the VAR, which is the table directly in front of us on the broadcast, as far as that last goal. So a good goal for Arshakian and a nice 4-1 lead for Chicago. And
It's a good finish from Arshakian, by the way. And he's someone, I joke calling him the Armenian Ibra, obviously, but he's someone that needs to impress and needs to grab a hold of a position and put his weight around as well. Sometimes he came into the game last year in the latter parts of the season, and I felt he didn't implement his own style or try to enough, and was a little bit of a passenger in the game.
Now into the box for Miami, and skip through, opportunity cleared away. And for those Fire fans that might want to discount this is a very strong Miami FC team. This is not a team to sleep on, even though it is considered a lower division, as now the Fire try to cross it through. Opportunity and saved again. And this game could easily be 6-1. Instead, Nikolic just puts it off the keeper and out for a corner.
And let's go back about 20 seconds to the build-up. It was the long ball to Arshakian, and he did exactly what I asked him to do in that sense. He held off the defender, and he got a first-time brilliant pass across to the right-hand side. I'll tell you one thing, Nikolic will not be happy missing that chance. It was a little bit lackluster. You look for him to just bury that low and hard. Nikolic is a quality finisher, and he'll want that one back for sure.
Now Akam into the box, trying to line one up towards the far post, and just too strong, goes out wide and out for a goal kick. But what a turn of events from the blow of the second half whistle. The Fire have just dominated the game, and it seems to be a nice rotation. Again, as we were talking before that last build-up for Nikolic, Miami FC is a team that does have a lot of MLS experience as well, and some NASL veterans as well. But again, not a team to sleep on. Richie Ryan, one of those guys that, again, a very, very strong midfielder, as well as guys like Mike LaHood, who have had runs with
Philadelphia
Union.
Yeah, he was impressive there.
So just to don't discount it as a lower division team for the Fire fans. This is a very, very strong second division NASL club.
It is indeed. You see Johnny Steele in midfield, former New York Red Bull player. He was part of that Red Bulls team when he was on the field. I remember it well. I was there with broadcast partner at the time, Dan Kelly, when he was playing on the flank for a side that won their first ever supporter shield against Chicago in 2013 on the final day. And that was a dagger for the Fire because the team had a chance to make the playoffs after what was a sensational second half of the season under Frank Klopas. You bring in Mike McGee, and he turned things around nearly single-handedly. Just a different mentality, and that mentality is something that I think you'll see change with this group. Dax McCarty's comments were very harsh when he joined Chicago, but he was absolutely right. I admired him for that, for speaking out and saying, look, I'm a winner and I want to be part of a winning team. And that's what Nelson Rodriguez, and credit to him, is starting to assemble. Slowly but surely, it takes time. And you're seeing guys, I love what I'm seeing. I know it's early doors yet, but from Nikolic, really aggressive, wants to be on the ball. Again, I go back to what I said in the first half about wanting to take on responsibility and not hiding in games and shying away from that responsibility. Here he is in the ball once more.
Now the Fire again trying to switch play, looking to Harrington on the near side. Touched up Alvarez trying to chip in through the box, and another dangerous opportunity for the Fire. Similar spot to where he got his last goal from.
And if you're Michel, who I'm a little bit surprised is playing left back, you got to watch Arturo coming inside.
Into the box, lines one up, headed away. Excellent cross by Drew Connor.
It was a good hit from David Akam. LaHood felt that.
David Akam, also a preseason assassin as well. Saw him last year in a game against the Philadelphia Union, notch a brace. Again, always fun to watch him in open space as well. One of the faster players on the pitch, especially when coming in from that left wing, can be especially dangerous. And sent improperly weighted and out past touch. It'll be a throw-in for Patrick Duty, one of the Fire's homegrown players. 5 listed on the roster. MLS only allows you 4, but again, we had mentioned his name in the first half, Georgi Mihailovic. One of those also, but has been playing with the academy for the last few years. So whatever the situation is, one of them will be on that extended roster. But always good to see some of those hometown players stay there and be able to help, as you said, supporting local soccer from a fan perspective. It's always great to see homegrown players playing for their hometown team. Alvarez.
And credit to the Chicago Fire Academy, and I've seen other players coming through, the likes of Chris Ritter, Harry Shipp as well, breaking through as homegrown players. And it is wonderful to see. I tell you one thing, I've been impressed with this second 11 that Veljko Paunovic has put out so far. Wanting to control the ball, wanting to switch the play as well. There's Adi Hilton, former Chicago Fireman, stepping out of the back.
Saw you tweeting him earlier in the week as well. Someone was tweeting you guys, saying a little bit of a Chicago Fire reunion, bringing you back to the broadcast booth, as well as him playing against his old team. And we will have a keeper switch, it looks like, for Miami FC. Vega will have a seat after making a couple of great saves, but again, getting that paw to the Arturo Alvarez shot, still was able to sneak through. That will be the end of Vega's day. I believe the only 2 other keepers on the roster. I believe this is Ryan Herman. But we'll still wait for the Miami FC to tweet the official sub. Again, no numbers on the jersey. Always fun. Now Cleveland Throws out to his left. Akam, first touch, tries to get the turn, and again, misplayed by Miami and out for a fire throw.
To me, Patrick Doody has the ability to be a very consistent player in Major League Soccer for a long time, and I've always thought that about him. He's got such a smart head on his shoulders. Good positionally. Not going to give you anything too flashy, but that's okay. He's a good defender, and that's what he's there to do first and foremost. Can get forward. Used to take a lot of the set plays when he played with Todd Yeagley in Indiana. Won a national championship with Indiana too.
And it is in fact Ryan Herman, the new goalkeeper, as Miami goes on the break into the 18, trying to find some space and looks to try and curl it in, trying to finesse it under that top corner far post. Instead, gets his toe too far under it and sends it out past touch for a goal kick. Saw a couple Miami FC fans in the stands today. Their primary supporter group, the Dade Brigade, obviously from that area of Miami, your neck of the woods. And last year, their first year in the North American Soccer League, tried to make some waves with some big signings, but
they've shipped some up as well. I mean, you've got someone like Dario Svitinic, played with really good clubs like Pachuca. He's a player that's moved on. Wilson Palacios, who of course had a wonderful career both internationally and over in the Premier League as well. The likes of Spurs and Wigan, he's off the books as well. So they're trying to strengthen. They've brought in a lot of central midfield players as we see David Akam just turn on the jets. Is there anything more exciting than seeing David Akam at full flow? I go back to that game against Orlando last year, when he just made an absolute show of Seb Hines. And it was one of the most electrifying things you can see in the game, because when the ball was played, there was no chance for anybody to make that ball. And Seb Hines must have looked again and thought he was okay. And next thing, the Ghanaian has passed him, and he finished in style as well.
Orlando City, just about an hour and a half away from here. That is the soccer central hub for professional soccer in this state. Again, boasting, I believe, a little more than 5 professional teams spread out throughout the North American Soccer League, United Soccer League, as well as Major League Soccer, the lone team being Orlando City, but still hopes for a Miami team. But again, after 3 years of the initial announcement, stadium talks have kind of stalled. And now with word that some other teams are trying to get in, and a beautiful run onside. What a beautiful look. Again by Nikolic, tries to sneak it through, crosses, and Akam will get the goal.
And look at the delight on the face of David Akam. Huge credit to Nemanja Nikolic. Selfless. Played through. I thought he may have been offside as soon as the ball was played. I thought he was going to have to leave it for David Arshakian. The linesman's flag stayed down, and Nikolic lifts his head. And that is wonderful to see in pre-season. There you see, he's just about onside. Plays it across the box. It's a dangerous thing to do, but gets his teammate involved, and David Akam tucks it away with ease for a 5-1 lead. We're seeing some goals here today.
And also good to see smiles on these Fire players' faces. For the last few years, where they have been kind of at the bottom of the MLS table, one of the big keys to winning games like that is to just get out of your own head, have fun. Obviously, winning is what breeds having fun. Nobody goes out there and smiles when you're losing by 3 goals, but to see these guys get a new shot in the arm and a new chance to start strong for the 2017 MLS season definitely bodes well for this Chicago Fire squad. And we had mentioned Akam, as you had mentioned with him and DeLayu with the Lion King combination.
Well, that's all Dan Kelly now. I'm not taking any credit for that. The cheese ball himself, he's listening in. Dan Kelly loves to come up with nicknames for players as well. The crafty Guatemalan, I remember well, with Marco Papa. There's been plenty throughout the years. The Ginger Ninja, Jeff Laurentowicz, and the Lion King combination of Michael DeLeo and David Akam.
We'll have to see what he comes up with if and when Bastian Schweinsteiger may make his way to Chicago.
Oh, I don't know about that. Look at the midfield, Juninho and McCarty. I don't know if there's a possibility of that happening.
Curled in on the in-swinger from the corner. I believe that was Michel.
And a lot of people want to talk, and we've had feedback, and I'll continue to read out good feedback when it comes through. here on Twitter, hashtag CF97, and you can hit me directly, Kev_Egan. Scott Fenwick says on Twitter, this match tells me Paunovic knows 4-4-2 is his best bet with this team, and that's just fine, and it is, and you can see that, and that's, people want to be fancy and try and talk all about formations. The reality in this game is, you see that formation when kickoff happens, and then when kickoff happens, the game happens, and you have to react accordingly within the game. And to me, I try not to read too much into those things, because 4-2-3-1 and 4-4-2 are very similar. You could have Michael DeLeo drop off a little bit and help out in the midfield, if that's what you want to call a 4-2-3-1, but it is very similar, and you will see a double pivot in midfield, I think, between Juninho and Dax McCarty. And both players, like we touched on, are smart enough to do that. And we haven't even had a chance to mention Matt Polster yet, who has a knee sprain right now, and who'll come back in and will challenge those two. I strongly believe we'll see the maturation process of Matt Polster throughout this season, who's an incredibly gifted and talented player, and has a lot of the tools to go on and be very successful. And with the guidance of someone like Juninho and McCarty, who are several years older than Polster, I think he'll only benefit.
Alvarez with a beautiful first touch to get down the side. Still sticking with the ball, and the rotation getting back to his benefit. Able to nutmeg Arshakian, and he's not going to have that. Takes him down. Back through the middle. Miami FC looking to climb out of this 4-goal deficit. It's 5-1 in favor of Chicago. Just a little under a half hour remaining. That deep cross and into the box, but safely headed away by Chicago. Will be a throw-in for them as well.
A lot of people seem very happy, excuse me, Ryan, on Twitter, just to see that passing sequence. We're seeing much more of that in the second half so far. Honestly, I think Nikolic has been involved in a lot of it. There's Arshakian again. Use that physical strength. He's up against someone who's very powerful in Michael Lahoud. But that's what you want to see. You want to see more scrap, more fight, more determination from Arshakian. Similar to Alvarez as well. I think you're going to get it naturally from DeLeo. Nikolic as well, midfield with McCarty and Juninho. And David Akan will always bring that.
And the team that we've seen from the first half to the second half. Again, obviously this second rotation of Fire players, but to have the problem that the head coach Paunovic has in having too many players that can make a strong effect in the positive is one that you would always love to have going into the regular season. So the Fire look to extend their lead, and again, with this 5-1 goal, would expect maybe some Fire subs to see some of their younger players and anybody that may be on trial as well. And we, again, talked to some of the people with the front office staff, talking about how the final game coming up next Saturday will be the one where you'll see probably more likely what the starting 11 will be going into the MLS regular season.
Yeah, I think we have a good idea as to what it's going to be. It'll be interesting to see if Ryan Taylor does have an impact while on trial later in the week.
Player taken down in the box for Miami, was looking for a foul call that was off the ball.
Yeah, Big Chavez. He scored a goal last year that won goal of the season in ASL. It was number 1 in the ESPN Sports Center charts as well. Very talented young player.
Trying to head that away is Duty. Instead, kept in with Miami FC. It was nice to see a lot of North American Soccer League. Saw a few goals. Also one just north. Joe Cole, former England and Chelsea legend with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And now we are going to get our first VAR ruling. So we will see. Again, just waiting to see what the call is. I think they're trying to look at that initial foul off the ball, so the center referee will come in. So glad that we get to see one of these actually in action. Didn't have it active for the full first game at 3:30, so I think that is in fact what they are going to be reviewing, was the downed player. So this time, it is important to note, this time will be added to the end of regulation, as stoppage time would typically be shown. We'll see what they're looking at right now. I believe that might have been that was not the foul. That's just them calling for it. And now we are going to see what the ruling is.
Is he going back to... Yes, he's
And
given
it
a
is
penalty.
a penalty.
He's going back to the incident where Chavez was dragged down. And this is one of the big concerns with this video replay. Is that happened several sequences ago. And yet there's a level of confusion that will happen. And what happens if it's a frantic game, end to end? A lot happens in between. That, you know, when the referee gets that chance to go across and consult with the official, with the video replay. It's been given. Chavez was brought down. I'm not sure by who. And now it's a chance for, I believe, Ariel Martinez to take this penalty. And a big chance for Cleveland in goal, by the way.
Very interesting implementation. And again, had the Fire taken a break and scored a goal, it's important to note that that goal, if the Fire would have scored to make it 6-1, would have been disallowed and they would have awarded this penalty. So the momentum swing that VAR can, in fact, bring to a game is huge. Now Martinez steps up. Tries to shoot in. Cleveland with the save, but the putback for Martinez brings Miami back within 3. A beautiful initial save by Cleveland, but unable to recover and get this second attempt by Martinez in the 71st minute. Miami now trail 5-2.
Yeah, well done though, Stephen Cleveland. He got across really well. Disappointing though, other Chicago Fire players not alert enough. Look at Michel. Look at Michel. Michael Harrington is walking. Michel and Ariel Martinez both quick enough to get in there. Got to finish the play, follow it through, and credit to Martinez who tucks it away after a very good save from Stephen Cleveland, who has been signed by the Chicago Fire. He'll be that maybe third choice, maybe fighting for that second spot with Matt Lampson.
And very important to note also that, again, with that VAR implementation, that is something that in a 1-1 game, if a foul like that occurs that goes missed, I mean, that's a potential season-changing points. That's the difference between making the MLS playoffs and not making it at all if you're one of those teams fighting for one of those 6 spots. So, again, interesting to see how it will affect some of the USL clubs this year, but also, as we mentioned in 2018, FIFA will review to see if that's going to be, in fact, a law of the game to add VAR. They've been using it in the Netherlands, in Brazil, and some levels of Bundesliga, International Club World Cup. So it's, again, a very interesting time because as technology is evolving, so too does the game have to.
And I just wonder what's going to happen if there is a clear incident in a game. Studs raised. Defender from Miami won the ball. That Tyler Ruthven.
And now we will see if that is a studs up. This also is an incident that would be able to be reviewed if, in fact, they do deem there to be malicious intent with a 2 studs up tackle. They could go back and, in fact, issue a red card to the player that committed the foul.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a fan. It's going to slow things down. Here's what could happen is that you could have an incident in a game where a team has momentum, a potential penalty shout. It's not given, it's not blown for at the time, and then you'll see players kick the ball out of play instantly. So they'll push the official and pressurize the official to make sure it's reviewed.
So those of you that saw the official make that little TV screen note, similar to how if a player tries to pretend like he's raising a card, that simulation, a player will also automatically get a yellow card if he too makes those hand motions trying to signify that they want that play reviewed. So there will be a little bit of a learning curve probably for some of the younger players in USL, but again, it's always nice to see what new technology could possibly improve the game, and maybe not improve the game, but
possibly is the big word there. Possibly.
It is. Obviously, you don't want to see 7 or 8 of these instances a game, but again, in a chance like a penalty.
Saw Janino in training last week hit an absolute belter from distance.
Now 36 yards out, lines one in, and just into the belly of Herman, but an excellent shot over the wall and just to the left of Ryan Herman for Miami FC. He keeps it just a 3-goal deficit for the guys in blue.
And the fear is from certain Fire fans watching that the replays could, or the review could suck the life out of the game if it's slowed down and if it happens several times throughout the game.
Now Miami through, and beautiful. They don't let play continue. Looked like he may have been onside. Cleveland able to get a foot to it. Offside is whistled.
It was a beautiful ball. I'm not sure about that one. If we can see a replay, that'd be great, because Chavez, to me, looked like he was in line. And again, these are guys playing for their spots. Campbell in his second season, what a year he had. He's someone we have to talk about briefly because he came in a little bit under the radar, Jonathan Campbell. 12th pick in the first round of the draft from North Carolina. Comes in and, you know, he's had 30 starts in his rookie campaign, and he was consistent in a poor team that finished last in the league. That's not easy to do. You know, it's easier. We mentioned Austin Berry earlier, and he's playing alongside someone like Arne Friedrich, who played 82 times for Germany. But Jonathan Campbell came in last year. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Really impressive indeed.
Sent back for Miami. Herman sends it deep. Headed forward by Harrington. Now Akam settles back. A little bit of contact with Drew Connor, and now the fire on the break. Nikolic, beautiful ball through, looking, again, trying to find Drew Connor. Instead goes out for a goal kick, but a nice little give and go sequence. And now a replay of that last potential offside.
Oh, I think it's tight.
It was a very close look, and obviously we don't have the one right on the line, but that was about as close as you're going to get. Looks like he may have been just a body or so past, but again, that's also one of those calls with VAR that if the assistant referee would have left his flag down and he were to score from an offside position, they can also disallow that goal, even if the on-field assistant referee does not catch it. So going to be a lot of growing pains in the 2017 season. But again, everybody involved in trying to make VAR work is doing so to, again, try and improve the quality of the game and the quality of results.
But it's one of the beauties of the game is that you're uninterrupted, and it's 90 minutes. You get your 15-minute break at halftime, and off it goes. And if you get a game that's end-to-end and thoroughly enjoyable in that sense, if it's worth it, and I'm still not sure what the answer is, and if it will be. The teething process could prove to be frustrating, but that's something we'll find out.
Also, the level of education that has to go to add another referee to be able to follow the rules of the game from a video standpoint, not seeing the ball live on the field, in fact being, again, at a booth and looking at a monitor and analyzing every single play, every goal, every foul. And that one for Alvarez. Nice of Nikolic to check up. He was offside but came back, and now wanting that ball to be out past touch, instead settled back for Herman.
I think Arturo Alvarez has been very impressive so far in this second half, halfway through, and he looks fit, sharp and ready. His touch has been immaculate. And it's been a question mark. Much of the forward areas of the field is set. And it's been an area, the right-hand side of midfield. Will it be Goossens? Will Daniel Johnson break through? Will it be Arturo Alvarez? Or Luis Solignac could fill in that role as well. So he's got to fight for it. He's got to win it. You can't rely on stats from last season. But so far in this game, he's looking good.
Akam in space gets a little tug, and they are going to call the foul. Akam would have been off to the races towards the top of the 18. Instead, play whistled dead, and Chicago will have a free kick from a dangerous, creative spot, a little over 40 yards out. Looks to be Akam standing over the ball. As well as Patrick Duty. We await the free kick.
Jonathan Campbell wearing 16 at the back post. Just one goal last season. He's someone who I think can improve on that. Good in the air.
Looks like Janino wanted to line up one of those shots from distance. Akam trying to break into the box. Able to stick with the ball. Now an opportunity to cross, and that will go off a Miami defender and out for a Chicago corner. It will be Akam from that far side. And the wind has died down a little bit here at IMG Academy Field, and lining one up from the 18 and just tops it and into the turf and out for a goal kick.
Nice idea, though.
Had a good lineup, and it looked like the ball might have just bounced right before his foot made contact with it, and he drives it into the turf and just out for a goal kick.
Yeah, a really smart play from Drew Connor, who just flicks it back. And they've been impressive so far in midfield, both Drew Connor and Juninho, holding their own for sure. And it's good to see Drew Connor breaking through. Was always impressive for John Trask in Wisconsin in his college days.
And again, for those of you wondering what the official language used with regard to VAR was, the note that we got passed was the review identified a foul by Michael Harrington against a Miami player off the ball in the Chicago penalty area, which is why the penalty kick was awarded to Miami. So that is the official PRO stance on the play that was the Miami FC penalty kick. Herman trying to send his guys forward as he gets a leg into it and across midfield.
Got a tweet in here from Kevin Reckcamp, who says, Akam seems a little anonymous today. Do you think he's better at second forward than left midfield? Personally, Kevin, I think he's better off on the left-hand side. But he can easily switch it up. The last thing, and this one thing I'll say about David Akam, if David Akam is your go-to player and your elite star, your best player in your team, your X factor, well, you're in trouble. And that was the case last season, because other teams can recognize that and they can nullify David Akam, and he's extremely quick and he uses that electrifying pace to trouble teams. Now all of a sudden you add Nikolic to the mix and De Leo through the center as well. And if Alvarez has a good year again, you've got him on the right-hand side. And other teams have to focus and know exactly where someone like Nikolic is. And that will free up more space naturally for David Akam.
It'll also be interesting to see when Dax McCarty and David Akam are playing on the pitch at the same time, how they might get some of those runs for David Akam down the left wing. So, again, expect to see your traditional starting 11 next Saturday. That will be at Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete as part of a triple header. And now there is a downed fire player. And 5-2, 83rd minute of play.
The Chicago Fire account has tweeted out the David Akam goal, the 5th goal of the game, and take a look at it on social media if you can. It's tremendous build-up all the way from the back, from Stephen Cleveland in goal. Beautiful one-touch football. Finished off with the Nikolic selfless pass to Akam. Good finish.
Also, great job by Akam to stay on side again with that blazing speed that he has. Sometimes, jumping in front of the ball and in front of that last attacker of Nikolic, but a beautiful, as you said, selfless pass to help put this game pretty much in hand. Miami still going to look to try and find one more, maybe two. Running out of time though. 84th minute of play, 5-2, the Chicago Fire advantage.
Great pressure from Drew Connor.
And now Arshakian. And they're going to whistle the foul, and he's not quite sure why it was called, but
bit of experience from Johnny Steele.
Johnny Steele, a well-traveled member of all the leagues. Also a former member of the old FC Tampa Bay before the reincarnation of the Rowdies. Well known in the U.S. soccer circles.
And if you're Alessandro Nesta, one of the greatest defenders to ever play the game, you have to look at this and say we've conceded 11 goals in the past 2 games, and that's so far. And that's he's going to be furious, but it's good for them though. It's good pre-season practice to play against really good strikers. You're looking at Josie Altidore. Joe Vinco was very impressive a few days ago against Miami, and now up against the likes of Nikolic and De Leo today. but they have to go after the NASL season and really feel it's theirs to go and win it. Certainly for me, the most talented squad in NASL. But in the 11 will be a very, very good team again. Interesting to see what the Cosmos can come up with in New York.
Little extracurriculars after the
Harrington wasn't
foul
too
by
pleased.
Harrington. And Harrington's got to be careful. I did not see any cards issued for the off-the-ball foul that drew the penalty kick, but a little tabletop tackle for Miami.
Yeah, it's Baggio that feels the effects of that one, gets up. I just wondered, was there a bit of afters with Harrington and Baggio?
Now this is where Michel is so dangerous.
Yeah, he's superb.
One of the stronger legs in the North American Soccer League.
And this a massive test for Cleveland in goal. He's got to see Adi Elton, Mike Lahoud as well, Martinez. They're all looking to get on the end of this one.
Michel puts it, or post headed away safely, looking for a calm, and now off on the break, and a calm down the far side.
Beep, beep.
Trying to line it up for Nikolic. Taken back by Miami, but that is going to be a dangerous foul, a booking, a potential red directly behind the player.
João Mera, there's no need for it. Stand up, stay on your feet. You know you go in behind. You know you're flirting with a card. And it could be a red one, like you said. I don't think it will be, but it's just such a dangerous tackle that's not needed.
And it will just be a yellow, but
how many times in Major League Soccer have we seen referees give a red card for a challenge like that if it does endanger the player? He's done well, João Mera, this evening, but there's just no need to dive in like that.
now the free kick time winding down in the final 4 minutes or so. Probably going to have a few minutes of extra time. Sometimes on these preseason competitions, they don't like to add too much because, again, the more time they play, the more possibility of injury on tackles similar to that, which is what nobody wants. Beautiful back heel flick, but kept in by Harrington. No threat for Cleveland as he sends it back away from his goal. And I want to thank you guys. Just after 8 o'clock local time, 7 o'clock back in Chicago, spending your evening with myself, Ryan Sudol, and Kevin Egan, your familiar voice. Now down in Miami with BN Sports.
The extra 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us.
Also quite a fun podcast hosted by Kevin as well as a few other members of the BN Sports team. You can actually hear Kevin sing some Backstreet Boys in the latest episode.
This was not part of the deal. I did not know you were going to mention that.
You said shameless plugs. I got to do what I can. But again, the podcasting world, always great, and I know there's a lot of good Chicago Fire ones as well. Some of the people that have tweeted us tonight, you can
absolutely
always check those out. And it's always a great way for the fans to get involved at all levels of soccer and put in their 2 cents. Again, we're blessed to be able to come here and do something for a large audience, but a lot of those home podcasters get some great followings, and you know, we're blessed to do what we do, and again, we're very thankful to have you interacting on Twitter tonight. Again, we've got games all week here at IMG Academy. Wednesday is the next match for the Chicago Fire. Alvarez into the box, lines one up for Harrington, tries to curl it and head it just over the bar. He was onside and out for a goal kick, but what an opportunity. I believe that was Nikolic. And he is disappointed after he missed that one.
That's bread and butter stuff for Nemanja Nikolic. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but this guy has finished top scorer every single year since 2013. This guy knows how to score goals, and he's been so consistent in doing it. In fact, when he left mid-season, he left Leggy, he was top scorer in the Polish league. He's someone who puts those chances away, so expect to see a little better finishing from Nikolic once Major League Soccer commences. And what a way to start, by the way, for Chicago. At Columbus.
Recently voted one of the greatest surfaces in all of North American sports, and not just soccer. All the major sports played in the United States. The surface at Matt Free Stadium
It's a good pitch and a sweet one to win on.
I know in recent years Chicago has had some struggles with Columbus, as now Alvarez on the break. 90th minute, trying to get one more maybe. Slides in and sneaks it just by, but looks like Herman got a hand to it possibly, and it will be a corner kick. Alvarez again taking that same run that he scored his first goal on, 2 steps closer to goal than he did, and instead just puts it wide.
And that's exactly it, Ryan. If you said to me Arturo Alvarez scored and you hadn't seen the game, how did he score? You're going to describe exactly what just happened. Breaking into space on the right-hand side, tucking in onto his sweet left foot. Arjen Robben scored for Bayern Munich in the Champions League. You know exactly what he's going to do, yet it's still really difficult to defend.
The last opportunities for Chicago. The in-swinger is low. They try to sneak it through, and it's going to go out, this time for a goal kick.
Final few minutes. Any thoughts on this performance so far, Chicago Fire fans? Miami as well, let us know.
I'm sure the conversation between us, Kevin, will also trickle over. If you guys want to tweet at us, we'll be possibly enjoying a victory brew and raising one for those of you that came out to the Globe Pub watch party. Thank you for spending your night. And now Cleveland just tracking that one over the bar and anticipating the final whistle being blown here. But again, you can reach me at SudSanity on Twitter, and my broadcast partner, familiar face, Kevin Egan at Kev_Egan. And that is the final Chicago Fire 5, Miami FC of the North American Soccer League lead this game with 2, one coming off of a penalty. Just a very, very fun game. The first half had its ups and downs, but that second half, just the Fire came out guns blazing.
Yeah, really impressive second half. Arturo Alvarez in particular impressed in that second half. Jonathan Campbell, good. Honestly, Drew Connor and Juninho in centre midfield, good too. So lots to take away. Arshakian bagged himself a goal, the Armenian Ibra, and lots of positive things to take forward. 5 goals is a good note. Can you improve defensively on the 2? Absolutely. So Veljko Paunovic will be happy with the performance today. And for me, honestly, thrilled to be able to call a game. And thanks to the Chicago Fire and to all the fans listening as well for allowing me back in the booth for one more game. You'll enjoy Dan Kelly and his sweet tones all year, I'm sure, and Frank Lopez. And again, on a personal note, I wish the club nothing but the very best all season.
And Kevin, I appreciate you taking the trip up 3.5 hours. This was fun. A couple of Chicago guys getting to call a Chicago victory 5-2 here from IMG Academy Field. Want to thank you guys again for spending your Sunday evening with us. Thank our sponsors, Gatorade, Under Armour, and our presenting sponsor, Stream Sports. They will be with you all weekend. We've got games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday as well. And also, I believe next Tuesday, Orlando City B will be playing here. Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure. And again, for everyone at Stream Sports and my broadcast partner, Kevin Egan, I'm Ryan Sudol saying so long from IMG Academy.